All right, we are on our way. I can see somebody's connecting there on the side. Hi there, Tasman. Who also we have? Oh, where did everybody go disappear to now? Okay, we got Farron, we got Lashalia, we've got, is it Mabatu? Mababatu? Mababatu, Tasman, Tumi, Rolene. Okay, so the session is up and running. It is being recorded. So welcome once again, everybody, to this first time that we're connecting online. Let me move that out of the way. Okay. So that I can see the chat on the side here. I'm just moving things around, guys, so that I can see the chat as well. There we go. So let's talk our assessments. Let's talk what the course fits together. So before I do that, in the chat, can I just get a sense of how everybody's doing? Can I just get a sense of where you are at? How's the first couple of weeks been? So maybe on 3 smiley faces. So a sad face, a merry face, and then I need a smiley face. So it's like you know, to just indicate where you're finding yourself, how things have been, and have you managed to get everything that you needed in terms of the course, and have you started working through some of the activities that I've posted? So go. I will start first by posting a smiley face. So feel free to just post something in the chat, just so that I can see where everybody's at. All right, let me know. Oh, okay. Mawabatu, maybe you can elaborate on that a bit if you want to. If there's anything that that I can do just to assist with everything. Which other course are you guys doing? Yeah, Mawabatu, go for it.
Okay, so firstly, please don't let the double M confuse you. It's just Mabatu. I think
Just Mabatu.
Just a random way of spelling names. But anyhow,
I apologize.
No
I
problem.
apologize.
But that being said, I don't know, I'm just battling to get into tune with things. It's like I managed to listen to the videos. The content is really great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just get lost. And then, yeah, like just to post becomes a mission. Every day I make a resolution to work on it a bit harder, but between work and the traveling and getting into tune again this time, it's a bit of a nightmare. But I am only doing 2 modules, so it's this one and the business management as well.
Okay, no, that's good. What I can suggest, especially in terms of the model engagement, I will be posting 1 a week, but the only requirements that you complete out of the 9 or so that I'll be posting, I just need you to complete 4 out of them. So if you miss 1, then that's okay. So just 4 out of the 9 is more than sufficient for me in order for you to get that 20% of the model engagement mark. I'm very mindful. I've been teaching online for a good few years now, not at SACAP, but at another online campus, and I'm very much aware of the pressures that part-time students are under, and the fact that the terms are structured quite interestingly. So I'm used to 2 terms for the year, and each term is like 3 months long with a break in between, where SACAP structures it around 10-week terms. And it's quite interesting because what it does mean is that you do fewer modules, only 2 modules, but it's a bit more intense. So you can't slack off. You kind of have to work each week and sort of stay on top of the work. which is interesting, which I think works out a lot better just from my experience from part-time studies and part-time teaching. It just feels like you're always doing something rather than it being stretched out over like 3 months. And then you go, am I still studying? What am I supposed to be doing this week? So possibly it has its good side and its bad sides. Anybody
I
else?
guess so, but like also I did the 3 modules in the first term,
Oh,
and I thought that was intense, but
sure.
I just find this one looks a bit more intense. I guess maybe it's more in depth. It's going to be interesting to observe this term because I was one of those people that wanted to push and do 3 modules again this time, but I'm grateful that it wasn't even an option for me because it does
No.
look like it's going to be tough.
That is correct. So be kind to yourself and it's better to pass 2 than try 3 and end up failing 2. That's what I always tell my students. Excellent. Thank you very much, Babatu. Is there anybody else that want to give me a emoji? I see Luanda has also joined us. Welcome. Tasman, Tumi has also joined us. Welcome. Gugu has joined us. Welcome. Farron, Shalia, Michaela. This is Michaela. Michaela.
Hi, yes, it's Michaela.
Michaela. Okay, excellent. How are you doing, Michaela? How are things been? How have things been for term 2?
Well, I feel the same as Mbatu. Like, it is a lot different than the first term or first term. But I'm getting there.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Listen, by the end of this year, you'll be looking back at it and going, geez, the year went by so quickly. I wonder what happened. But when you're in the thick of it, you go like, oh man, this is so much. But you'll be okay. Don't worry, you'll be okay. And that's my job. My job is to guide you along and guide you through this module. It's a very good module. The way the module has been put together is that it's very practical. And how many of you, if you guys can just give me an indication with a thumbs up, all of you, how many of you are actually working in human resource management at the moment? Or have worked in human resource management before? Let's just have a thumbs up. Tumi, Tasman, Batu, Michaela, Luanda, Gugu, Farron. Anyone? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, so but this is, Michaela, so this is where you see yourself in. You see yourself in a career in human resource management, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. The other guys, anyone else?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks, Luanda. Yes, go for it.
So with me, I chose human resource management because I feel like it's a very transferable skill, and you can really work for different companies. So you can be in IT and be in HR for an IT company or things like that. So I feel like it's not limited to just a specific field. And I think that's why I chose psychology and human resources, just in case psychology decides not to welcome me. So that's the reason why I chose human resources.
No, thank you very much for that, Luanda. It is human resource management within a corporate, within the corporate space is, I always look at it as almost like a calling. It is, you have to be pulled for it. You have to be drawn to it. Let me put it that way. People that that are in sales and in finance, and that's what they do. That's not who they are. But people that are drawn to human resource management, they have something about them, this need to be of use, this higher purpose, this feeling of wanting to help people. And it is a helping profession, just like psychology is, just like social work is. It's just in a different environment. And it has different pressures, and it has different outcomes, and it has different expectations. But it can still be seen as a helping profession. Counseling, psychology, social work, human resource management, they all sort of fall in the same space. It just within a different environment, in a different context. So absolutely. And human resource management consists of so many different elements. I mean, there's talent management, which is all about understanding and developing people and setting these long-term plans for them. There's training and development, which is now called learning management, which is all about training and developing and training design and all kinds of cool stuff. Then there's organizational development, which is all about culture and change management. Then there's operational HR, which is sort of the hard graph of human resource management, where you frontline human resource management. And all of them play a role in organizations. And this is what has happened over the last few years, is that human resource management has really become a specialist field. Whereas before, many years ago, human resource management used to be like those people that sit in a corner that write contracts and we go to when this person isn't doing their work. Now it has become a lot more strategic. Now you have these different portions of it, these different parts of it, talent management, learning and development, organizational change management, operational human resource management. All of these different elements, and you can specialize in them. So when you finish with your HR degree, you can then go into your honors and specialize in one of those areas. If psychology is not what you're wanting to do. Psychology is tough. As all of you most probably have realized, that those that are doing psychology and are looking at doing psychology as a becoming psychologist, it is a difficult profession to get into. And the demands are quite high. But again, it's about what you do and how you get into it. Excellent. Thank you very much, guys. That was a good sort of overview for anybody else. Thank you very much, Landa. Thank you for the guys that spoke. But again, there's no pressure on anyone to have to speak. I do ask that you engage, though. So as we're going through the assignment, I'm going to ask you to ask questions and to engage with me. That's important, because then I know whether what I'm saying is landing, whether you understand, whether I need to be clearer, whether I need to approach it from a different way. So tonight's session is just, one is introduction, and two is about the assessment, understanding the assessments that needs to be done. So as I said, for module engagement, I'm going to post about 9 activities, and I only need you to complete 4 of them. So 4 out of the 9 activities, and you're guaranteed that 20%, but then you must do the activities. They're not meant to be onerous, which means they're not meant to be long. They're not meant to take a lot of time, but they're meant to make you think. They're meant to help you, as you can see from the activity this week. The activity is a advert, and guess what? There's an advert required in your assessment. So I'll be taking out little bits and pieces from the different assessments and sort of making those into module engagement, so that you, as you're busy working through the content, you'll be doing parts and bits and pieces of your assessment that's relevant to that particular week. So that's kind of the idea. If you want to do other things, then please let me know. You can drop me on the WhatsApp line. You can tell me directly via WhatsApp. You can email me. So there's different ways in which you can engage with me. So the first one is application. Both these application-based case studies, and they're very interesting case studies. And so let's have a look. The assessment is due. I am not sure when. Have you guys received assessment dates by any chance? Because I'm not sure where to download those. Are those emailed through to you, to me?
No, not yet. So
No,
we
they-
got comms. Oh, sorry. We got comms saying that they will start reflecting, I think, from the 26th onwards.
26th, yeah.
Okay, awesome. That we also have received some communication that it hasn't been formally released, but I would just thought that. So it says it's due in session 6, which is not next week. It's the week thereafter, if I'm correct, which is the week of the 3rd or 4th. Let me just double check. It is the week of the 3rd.
Usually with these assessments, or yeah, with the assessments, it says session 6, but it's the Monday of session 7 that it's due.
Okay. So we're
Following
looking
the,
at-
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Tasman. So we're looking at sort of the 10th of July. Could that be, does that sound a bit right? So that's good. Okay. So you do have a bit of time to work on, but bearing in mind, and this is where you need to manage your own time, you also have an assessment due for business management as well. And on top of that, you also have the summative assessment coming towards you as well. So while you're busy with this assessment, just bear in mind that you've got other assessments due and you've got the summative sort of coming towards you, marching slowly towards you as well. So make sure that you allow yourself enough time to work through the case study to be able to do the work. So the length of it is 1,800 words is actually not that much. And you'll find that you will go over it quite easily. So I will allow up to 2,000 words. So it's about 20% over the maximum word count. On one condition, that you put in your word count at the end of your submission. If you don't put in your word count at the end of your submission, I will have to count your words. And if it's over 1,800, then I'll penalize you. So make sure that you put in your 2,000, your word count at the end of it, which, if it's 2,022, it doesn't matter. But around that 2,000 mark, 2,100 is too much. 1,980 is perfect. 2,000 is brilliant. So just work around that. And the reason why I'm saying that is that you'll see quite quickly from the questions that's asked, you'll notice that, whoa, how do you answer that question with a limit of 50 words, But let's work through it and see what is required. So the instructions are clear. So carefully read through the case study entitled Insurance Brokers in a pre-chart textbook on page 458. Textbooks, everybody is accessing their textbooks. Can everyone access their textbooks? Please let me know if you do have some issues. I do know that in term 1, I had some students that were struggling to access their textbook via the links that was provided. The insurance brokers wanted to find out more about life. Jack decided to go out on his own to be an insurance broker, blah, blah. So Jack is looking for a secretary, and he went about doing that. And Elsevier had enough and found herself another job. On the last day of the month, she informed Jack that she would not be at work the next day. This comes as a surprise to Jack and Sue, who were suddenly left in the lurch and found themselves having to place a job advertisement in local newspaper again. It's an interesting case study. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. They did so many things incorrectly. The interesting thing about this, though, is that one never knows. So let me speak from my experience. And my experience doesn't lie in human resource management. My experience lies in operations management, sales and marketing, business management strategy. and I've worked with a lot of operational human resource managers. So my area lies in the learning and development side of things, which is one area of human resource management. My degree and my honors and my master's is in organizational psychology. So that is where my expertise lie in. And it's focused on learning and development. And I like the way they put together the case study. However, you never know about people. A person can sit in front of you and you can interview them and they will be perfect for it. And you do all the background checks and you do everything that you need to do in order to place them. You bring them into the business. You do your 3 months probation and they're brilliant. And in month 4, everything falls apart. Or they are what we call stress tested. Something happens that nobody can foresee. COVID, somebody gets sick in the office, or the business goes through a tough time and suddenly there's stuff that needs to be done. People need to work long hours and so forth and so forth. And suddenly the true nature of that person comes out and you go, okay, you can only really see a person's performance and judge their performance when they're under stress, when things are not going their way. And then you can see the stars in your organization shine. And you can see the people that are struggling and finding it challenging. And then can you start identifying those people and how you can then start supporting them to work through that challenging situation. And at this level of an organization, when I say this level, I mean there's a hierarchy. At a higher senior level, mid to senior level in organization, the expectation is that you can work through stressful situations a lot better and much sort of using your skills as a manager, as a senior manager, as an executive in organization. That's what you get paid for, is to be able to work through those stressful and challenges in organization. Whereas at a level where Alcibi is at, that is at a level where it's at what we call at the operational level. That's your day-to-day administrative staff. And it is difficult to expect at that level of the organization for the person to be able to work through a highly stressful and challenging situation at work in a way that's constructive. And it's rare that you'll find that. So that's the caveat. So that's just from a real world example. And some of you would have worked in situations, some of you would have worked with people that have, experienced this. Some of you would have worked with people that have come to you and said, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I hate. And then there's other people that come to you and go, things aren't great at the moment, but I'll work through it. And at this level of the organization, you'll find very rarely people that have what we call an internal locus of control. So this is a psychological term, internal locus of control, where they take ownership and accountability for how they respond to a situation. At this level of the organization, you find people tend to have an external locus of control, meaning that they tend to focus and blame external things, other people, the organization, their boss, the economy, the taxis. They tend to blame other things for their own performance or lack of performance. So that's an interesting thing. So that's just a caveat. So the first question is critically evaluate the process used to select Alcibi, approximately 200 words for 10 marks. How long is 200 words and how much is 10 marks? So it says evaluate the process. Now, what does that mean, evaluate? It means that, one, so at this point, what I am going to do, guys, I'm going to actually collapse this presentation, and I'm going to open up the Word document that I have put together for us to work on. Just hold on 1 second. Just drag it onto the screen. Oh, no, it's not that one. Is it that one? There we go. Almost there, almost there, almost there. There we go. Make this a little bigger. There we go. Alrighty, so here's a Word document. I've created a Word document for you to use, and you put in your name and surname. So this is the framework, or this is the template that is used by SACAP. Is that correct, guys? This is the same one that you guys have been using? Yes? Does it look like this? Is this a document that you guys are using for your submissions?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Luanda. So what I've done is I've just created a template. I am requiring you to write a small introduction. So the small introduction would be between 40 to 50 words, and it would include things like just a brief overview of the case study and a intro to the report. So this is like a report, treat it like a report. Sorry, let me do this properly. Introduction to the report. A brief overview. And then you can scroll down. So now let's work through these questions. So what is critically evaluate? Critically evaluate simply means that I am looking for you to, one, detail the process. So you write out, this is what the process was. And then you evaluate it. You say, this is what was wrong, what was wrong with it, or right with it. Or parts of it might be some part of it might be right, and some part of it might have been wrong. And when I say wrong, I mean in a broader sense, you know. And then as part of that process, as part of the answer, I'm looking then for what should have been done. Does that make sense in terms of question one? Critically evaluate the process. So I want you to detail the process. I want you to tell me what they did right, what they did wrong, and then you should have told me what they should have done, what should have been done. Okay? That's question one. Any questions on question one? Any thoughts on question one? We've got another 9 to go through. Any questions or thoughts? Please jump in as I'm busy working through this. I am busy typing this in as we speak. So let me just, everything in red, please make sure that you delete it before you answer, before you put in your answer. Advise Jack on what was problematic with the way he recruited LCB and on the labor-related legal requirements that must be adhered to when recruiting and selecting another secretary. So that's an interesting question. It's only 5 marks, but apparently it's also 200 words. So it is not really 200 words. It will be a lot less than that for 5 marks. So what, any ideas what this answer should entail? Any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Just off the bat, just reading this question, it obviously talks about the problematic way he recruited Alsaby. So firstly, why it was problematic, I think. Right. Then you move on to the labor-related legal requirements that must be adhered to. So I'm guessing he did not adhere to these requirements. So you must basically list these requirements that he was supposed to adhere to when he recruited or selected Elsie.
Okay, cool. Let me just get my spelling right. Illegal. Thank goodness for spell check. Illegal about it. What was illegal about it? And what should be done? What should be done to rectify it in the second appointment? Because now they're looking for someone. Yeah, that is about it. And again, it is, guys, it's 5 marks. Please make sure that you look at your mark allocation and you judge your answer accordingly. What I don't want is for you to write for me 5 pages, and I know I'm exaggerating a bit, 5 pages on for 5 marks, and then you get to another question that's 20 marks and you write me 2 paragraphs. So use the mark allocation as a guideline, not so much the word count, because it can differ. Awesome. Thank you very much. That was Landa, hey?
Yes, that was
awesome. Fantastic. Now somebody else, maybe. Ooh, this is so compile a job description, specification, and profile. It's all 3. Job spec, the job description, specification, and profile for the job of a secretary who works from home. So this is quite interesting. Who works from home. Now, before COVID, working from home was the exception. Way exception. It was like unheard of. When you hear people saying, I'm working from home, you think, geez, what type of job do you do? That doesn't sound like a proper job. Then COVID happened, and post-COVID, so many companies have been forced to relook their policies. Because people were going, especially the high performers. It's not the people that are your sort of your basic, staff that sort of middle of the road. I'm talking about the stars now, your high performers in organizations were looking at it and going, I'm saving time. I'm saving fuel cost. I get to work in an environment that is conducive to my own mental health. I get to drop my kids off. I get to go and fetch them if I need to. And they started negotiating with the employers. They started talking to the employers saying, listen, let me work from home 3 days a week. And because I've proven to you while COVID was happening, while lockdowns was happening, that my performance never decreased. But then there's that tension between those small amount of people that work exceptionally hard with very little supervision. And then you have another group of people that struggle with working without that supervision, working as self-directed, working from home. So you're looking for somebody, and this is nothing to do with, you're looking for somebody in the job profile, somebody that has experience working from home. And that's important because then you will be able to judge based on their prior experience that they have been successful being self-directed and being able to work from home. The job specification, profile, description, specification, profile, etc. So it's 20 marks. Please clear subtitles. Let me show you how to include subtitles. So this is a subtitle. And if you go on top here, you'll see all these little blocks here. So this is heading 1. And then you can include a heading 2. And then it changes it. As you can see, it's like the same. But that's important because when you update your table of contents, you'll see that it changes slightly. And that's the important thing about having a heading 1 and having a heading 2. So when you say update table, update entire table, and suddenly you've got clear subtitles on page number 4. Not quite. And if you click on it, it's something about just your layout. And it's important if you learn these sort of skills, laying out your submission, being able to double click on here and then write in your name and your student number, being able to use the formatting in document. I know it's but it sounds pedantic, but it's a good way of learning. It's a good way of understanding how to lay out your document in such a way that it's clear. So clear subtitles. So subtitle would be job description. Another subtitle would be job specification, job profile. Then you can then work in things like extra, a breakdown of, and this is, and please make use of bullet points. In this particular section, I'll be okay with that because it's a list. It's a list of things. Make sure that you have a look at other job profiles like this online to give you an idea of them. Someone had their hand up, or someone had a question. Who was that? Anyone? All right. I'm very mindful of the time, and I don't want to let us carry on too long because I think after a while you will start sort of shutting down and switching off. So let me go through a couple more questions, and I will then share this document with you, and we can have another session, maybe not next week, the week thereafter, like on the Tuesday or the Wednesday again, which is the Wednesday before the submission is due on the Monday. Because by that time you would have worked on it. You would have added in all of your draft stuff. You would have added in all of the theory. You would have added in everything that's required. And then you can come to that session with a bit more and say, okay, I've done the whole thing, but question 4 is the one that I'm struggling with, or question 3, I've got part of it, but I'm not quite sure whether it's, I'm doing it properly. And then we can all add sort of our own information together and go, okay, maybe you need to look at this, or maybe you need to look at that. Is that okay? Because I don't want these sessions to go on too long, because I promise you don't want to listen to my voice for 2 hours. Trust me. So let's go through question 4. I will also be adding some more stuff to this document, and then I'll post the document into this week's folder for you to be able to access. I'll put in some more page numbers. Might even put in things like a little YouTube video clip, a newspaper clip, or not a newspaper clip, like a link to a website where you can have a look at an example of something. And some other things, and then you can work through it. So this is a specifically LinkedIn advert. Now, LinkedIn has a very specific format for the advertising, and LinkedIn adverts are boring. I've looked at them. The wording that I use are not very dynamic. This is where you can use chat GPT. I know people are saying, oh, it's from the devil. It's not. Please have a look at what's there and put it into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it for you. Ask it to write it for you. So the way that you use ChatGPT, you tell it. You say that you are looking for a secretary to do this and this and this. Write a LinkedIn advert for this particular job vacancy. And then it will give you something. And then you take that result and you work through it. You go, okay, that part I like, I don't like this part, or maybe this part needs to move to there, and I can change the wording over here, I can change the wording slightly there. And we're talking about the South African context, so I need to maybe include something like this, and I maybe need to include something like that. Specifically, if you look at some of the other questions that follows question 4, when we start talking about equity, when we start talking about mental health issues and so forth. That is, so you use ChatGPT as a frame, so you get a draft of it, and then you start adding to it and start taking stuff away. Start adding to it and start taking stuff away. Then you get to your draft, then you stick it back into ChatGPT. You say, you are looking for a secretary to do this and this and this for insurance brokers. Here is a draft job description, or here's a draft advert. Review this advert and rewrite it to be more dynamic, or rewrite it so that it's appropriate for LinkedIn. And then you get something out again. And that is such a great iterative approach. It's such a great iterative approach. That's a nice design term, where you're using it as a tool. You're not using it as a crutch. You're not asking it a question and then copying that straight into your work and go, here it is, I've done no work on it. You've used it as a soundboard. You've almost used it as like a friend, where you give it to say, yeah, read through it and tell me where I can make changes. And then give me some of those changes where I can make it. Then you rewrite, you add in, you take off, then you give it back to your friend and say, read it again. Tell me how this draft is. What is it looking like? And that is using it as a tool, rather than trying to use it as a form of plagiarism. Does that make sense to everybody? Please, I don't want you guys to look at it and be all, if I get caught using it, I'm going to be, Theo is going to give me 0 and I'm going to be expelled. Again, I want you to use it. I want you to use it as a tool, rather than be scared of it and going, oh, no, I'm not allowed to use it. But in a way that I'm suggesting that you do it as an iterative process, as a friend that reads through a draft, as a person that gives you feedback on what you've written, as a process of taking stuff and then adding to it, and then deleting some portions of it and adding to it some more, and then taking some portions back out again, and so forth. So please, I would strongly suggest that you engage with the software that is out there in a way that is responsible. Question 5, identify the criteria, predictors used in the selection process of the secretarial job vacancy, and draw up a selection grid as per page 456. 456. A selection grid, selection criteria, application, cold calling, reference. So there's an example of it on page 456. And this is a table. Please, so make sure example page 456. That is what I want to see. So please Question 6, draft a plan. Oopsie. Draft a plan using transformation phases guidelines for managing a diverse workforce found in page 415 to train all managers how to lead inclusivity at insurance brokers. So this is 10, this is 100 words for 10 marks. Earlier on, you had 400 words for 10 marks. Can you see the inconsistency? So again, let the marks be your guideline. If you look at page 415, I've got the physical textbook here because I struggle with those ebooks. Raising awareness and creating understanding, encouraging reflection. Using transformation phases guidelines. Here we go. The 4 transformational changes built on moral principles, mutual recognition, reciprocal understanding, standpoint plurality, mutually enabling trust, integrity, and intercultural moral point of view. Phase 1, raising awareness, creating and encouraging reflection. Phase 2, developing a vision of inclusion, rethinking key management concepts and principles, and adapting systems and processes. You have to do the work. You have to read through the theory. You have to not just look at this theoretical principle, but I need you to do some additional research, and I'll give you some hints. Additional research I want you to on this topic. That's what I'm looking for. I want you to use EBSCOhost. I'm looking for at least 1, 2 or so articles, proper peer-reviewed articles. And this is important because, again, I am not just preparing you for this module, I'm also looking at what you're going to be doing next term and next year as you're developing. For some of you, this journey is only starting. For some of you, this journey is going to end up in a master's degree in 4 to 5 to 6 years from now. And you need to start developing some of these research tools, some of the academic tools that you're going to need to be able to be successful. So you need to use EBSCOhost, you need to access it, you need to be able to download peer-reviewed articles, you need to be able to read through it, you need to be able to take out summary points from it in order to substantiate your statement. So you make a statement and you say, according to this, this, and this, once looking at the transformation phases as per, etc., etc. That's such an important part of academic scholarship. And you need to start developing those tools now as part of that process. Question 7, based on an understanding of the basic psychology of the individual, advise Jack on how better to support Alsaby's well-being as an employer, as an employee. I'm going to stop here. Question 7. Are there any questions so far? Are there any comments that you might have on the questions that we've gone through so far? Please feel free to jump in.
Hello.
Yes.
For me, I just have a question about the research that we're going to do separately. Do we have to then cite it in our plan? So use in-text citation in the plan.
Oh, Landa, when you say the plan, you mean the actual?
So for question 6, draft a plan to train all managers on how to lead inclusively. So do we then do we have to use in-text citation?
Absolutely. So,
Okay.
so what you'll do is you'll have a small introduction to question 6. So it's 10 marks. So you'll say this question, or you'll say this is or you'll talk about the transformation phases is this and this and this. The following is an example of a plan, and then you'll put the plan down. So you start off almost with 2 or 3 sentences on the transformation phases and the guidelines as an introduction to the theory. So you introduce the theory. So now I'm going to use this theory, and here's the plan based on this theory for these guys. And here's the training plan. And the training plan is interesting because you're going to need to have things like description of the training, outcomes of the training, how long will the training take place? Is it a one-day workshop? What's the mode of delivery? Is it in person or is it online? Is there any supporting materials and resources that people will be using during the training? So that's sort of, so it's 2 parts to it. It is the content of the training, which is the transformation phases, and then the way the training is going to be delivered, so the execution of it. Make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Great stuff. Anybody else before we say good night? It was a bit longer than I expected it was going to be.
Theo, you mentioned that we are going to be doing the summative assessments.
Yes.
Are we going to? I thought we were just doing the 2 assessments. What is the?
Oh, okay.
in the
Okay.
summative?
So what I mean by summative, it is so these 2 are formative. If you can see my cursor there, so these 2 are formative. And we just call the last one summative. It's how we name them. So these are during the module, and this is the one at the end of the module. That's
So
what
summative doesn't mean we're gonna sit for an exam, because I almost got a heart attack.
no, not as far as I know, because this is the breakdown 20, 40, 40. If there's a hidden
Cool,
away,
that's fine.
if there's a hidden away 20 somewhere, then I don't know. You must take it up with your student counselor.
No, let's leave it unsaid. I'll take the 2 assessments as they are. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome, fantastic. Any other questions before we sign off, or comments? Did you guys find the session useful?
It was very useful. Thank you very much, Theo. Can I ask a question in terms of the exercise that we're supposed to be doing? You know, the one about the advert, where you said we must create it on Canva, and then we must have a voice thread for it.
Yes. You don't have to add. You don't have to add anything to it. I use the voice thread as an interactive tool. So for some students, you might want to upload the image, which because you'll download it as an image and you'll upload the image, and you might want to add some audio to it. So you say, this is an advert for this and this and this, and I included this and this and this. And that's also a way of engaging with you, because then you give me a voice note and I give you a voice note back. So that's the intention of it. And again, you don't need to.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Thank you very much, Gugu, for that comment. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think that should be it. I don't want to overstay my welcome. Guys, thank you very much for everyone that signed on. I know it's not ideal sometimes. It is a late evening, but I'm appreciative of it. I will I am recording the session. I will convert it to a YouTube video, which sometimes is a bit easier to watch, especially on your phone. And I'll post the link to the WhatsApp group and I'll post it online. So thank you very much, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, Theo. Good night.
Awesome,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you, Theo. Bye.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.